Hi guys. I can't decide how I want to sit. This is like so not what I'm used to looking like on camera. I know this is like giving podcasts with the microphone. Like I just really want it to be like I'm just talking to y'all, and sometimes when I'm propped up in front of a camera it doesn't feel that way. So this feels like way more casual to me. Like I'm just sitting and talking to y'all like a podcast, but it's again on my YouTube channel. Hi, I'm Audrey if you're new here, and we are talking about post-grad because I am a second semester senior at the University of Texas. I live in Austin. I'm graduating in May. I just have a lot to talk about one, my plans, obviously, but then also just the feelings of post-grad and the dynamics and how it's so, it can be a lot. But yeah, I am interested to see if I like the style of video because I usually don't like sit down videos or just like talking to my camera, but I feel like this, again, it feels like I'm more just having a conversation with y'all. Okay, I have a list of stuff. The first thing I have is entering the post-grad era. I feel like I became to a point, it was probably the end of my junior year last summer, where I was thinking about post-grad every single second of every day. Like a day did not go by where I didn't think about post-grad at least 5 times. Part of that was that I didn't know what I was doing, and so it was just a constant decision. And now that I've made my decision and I feel good about it, I think about it way less. But I know that that is such a common experience with my friends who are still looking for jobs, applying to jobs, and like trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And it's very interesting because I feel like the entire time that you've been at school, from kindergarten to the end of high school and through college, most everyone is on similar timelines. Transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, you're all in the same phase of life. And I think that's the biggest difference going into post-grad and graduating from college, is that there are infinitely more paths. And obviously there's more paths than just going to college after high school, but I'm in college, so I'm going to talk about the people I'm surrounded with. The timelines are very, very similar for a majority of people. And so when the graduation comes up and people are moving to new cities, some people have jobs, some people don't have jobs yet, some people are going to continue school, some people have long-term committed relationships, some people don't. So it feels overwhelming when you're comparing yourself to people, because for the first time, it's not as simple as, for example, when I was a senior in high school, I feel like I was just comparing, oh, blah, 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 got into the school. They know where they're going to school. I still haven't. And that was like the peak stress of uncertainty. But with this, just everyone's all of a sudden doing their own thing. And that's literally just how life is going to be from now on. It feels like this person has it figured out. This person's like gonna get engaged, this person's gonna move in with their boyfriend, this person's gonna go live at home, this, like, it's just, I could go on and on about all the different things that people are doing. And it's just important. I think my biggest advice is not to compare, because everyone's timelines are different, which leads me to my next point. For me, I never knew what I wanted to do in life. Everyone says that's okay, like you have so much time to figure it out, and I haven't heard that one in a while, because literally now it's the time. I'm gonna dive deeper into my major and what I wanted to be when I grew up, my internships and all of that. So I'm a corporate communications major and a media and entertainment industries minor, which is radio, television, film. They're all in the same Moody College of Communication. I absolutely loved my major, loved Moody, loved all of the classes that I took in college. I mean, all of that corresponded to my major. I feel like it was the perfect balance of creativity. I originally chose corporate communications because it was so broad, because I had no idea what I wanted to do. When I went to college, I was already doing YouTube, and I knew I liked social media, but I quickly learned that I don't like doing social media for other people. The summer after my sophomore year of college, I did a program called UTLA that UT has, and I spent the summer in LA, and I got an internship with a podcast company. That's what like started. That's literally why I bought this podcast mic. And I never started a podcast, but maybe this started the vibes. Basically there, I was in charge of their social media. I also was on every podcast. It was like a daily, almost radio show versus like a podcast. I mean, it technically was a podcast, but I would be on their shows, and then I planned their shows and did all their social media. And that job was just not inspiring to me. I loved being on the podcast, honestly, like talking every day. And that was a really cool opportunity. The social media aspect of it, and maybe it was because it was a podcast company, I just was not inspired and did not have the motivation that I do when I share with y'all of my life. And I think it's just because I enjoy connecting with y'all and sharing my life with you, and that's a big part of social media that I love. And I love the editing and all of that, but I just didn't feel inspired. I just didn't like doing social media for other people. For a while I thought that's what I was going to do because everything that I had done had kind of led up to that. So that summer I got connected with a real estate development company who, it actually was through kind of a brand deal I got. This company like builds the apartments that I've lived in this year and then last year. And so I had already been talking to them as an influencer, and we started talking about me interning there in the marketing team. And I loved this marketing internship. The team was so cool. I was doing social media, but I was also doing way more, marketing stuff. And that was a really good balance. My internship was so great. I feel like I was actually making a difference in the company, and they were so welcoming. I got to sit into so many meetings and just really learned a lot and met so many great people. And I did that internship for a year. So basically I started the August of my junior year, and then I ended at the end of last summer, basically this August 2023. I stopped. Decided not to like continue my internship in senior year because last year I had 15 hours of coursework, so I was doing a lot. I knew I really wanted to focus on social media. I also just started another business, the Sorority Sister, which I will get into later, and so it just wasn't the right time. I really wanted to spend time on this. I just really didn't have time for it anymore, which makes me sad because I loved the people I worked with and I loved that internship. And starting to go into what I'm doing post-grad, I am not planning on applying for jobs and going into the corporate world right now, but if I did, I would definitely want to go into marketing. And I feel like even though I wasn't a marketing major, my communications major was so broad, and just the stuff that I've done in my internship preps me for something like that. But I have decided to do content creation full time. So talking a little bit more about that and just avenues of revenue and all of that, because it's a job. I have to make money. I started my YouTube channel December of my junior year in high school. I really did it for a creative outlet. I wanted to just edit videos and I posted them just to make it easier. My intention was not to become a YouTuber. Like, I thought it was just fun to film my life and post it. And then my videos started getting more views, and I had one of my first videos is my most viewed video on here. I literally filmed on my iPhone, edited on iMovie, and it blew up. I think it has like over 3 million views, which is crazy. So that made me start taking it more seriously. I started posting every week versus before I was kind of just filming when events would happen that I wanted to film, and the timeline could not be more perfect. Like, this really happened within like 4 or 5 months. So I started taking it more seriously. I got a camera. I was able to get ads on my YouTube channel and start monetizing them. And it just, y'all are here. I just have been doing it ever since. And with starting YouTube, I obviously got way more into social media as a whole. So Instagram, I love my Instagram, posting my stories every day. And then when TikTok came out, I started doing TikTok. Honestly, not as much as I could have or should have, especially already being in the space. I feel like I could have taken advantage of the growth of TikTok way earlier, but TikTok is really just not my thing. I don't love short form content. I love so much more to make YouTube videos and stuff like that. So sometimes it's something I regret, but then I remember like it all happens how it's supposed to. So anyways, I still post on TikTok. It's just like I didn't like hop on the first wave in 2019. So yeah, I make money from ads on my YouTube and then also brand deals. That's the thing that probably I rely on the most, and that's with YouTube and then sometimes Instagram and TikTok. Then I also have affiliate links. There's just like a lot of little ways that really add up to making money as a content creator, which it still baffles me, and I'm just like so happy to be here and so happy to be like talking to y'all right now. Just talking about doing this full time is so crazy. I feel like it hasn't set in. When I went to college, when people asked me what I wanted to do, I just said like I would love to do this full time, but I don't think I have the financial stability to do so yet. And in the past year, that circumstance has really changed. I'm like such a money saver. I've saved enough money. I've talked to a financial advisor to prep me for this next, in my head it's a year, to prep me for this next year at least. And at this rate, I'm making more than I would with an entry-level job with my major, or honestly just any entry-level job at this age. And so I really want to give myself the time, because I also have never done this full time. I always have so much else going on. So I want to really give myself at least a year to be a full-time content creator, which I'm so excited about already. This semester, I have only 2 classes, and so I have a lot more free time. And now that I'm in the mindset of this is my job, which I always was, but at the same time, I was also a college student trying to set up my future if this wasn't going to be my full-time job. It really, my whole mentality has really changed, and it's really exciting. So along with money from social media, I started the business, the Sorority Sister, which I mentioned earlier. I started that like early August, kind of was working on it all summer. It is a sorority rush consultant course. I created this course for girls who are going through sorority rush. I filmed a bunch of content. I'm working with my business partner, Kendall, and we are the perfect duo. I am just so grateful for this like opportunity and the way that this has been working out, because it really also gives me a lot of security for if social media doesn't work out. And I feel like social media is so inconsistent that I really wanted to start putting in place things where I could just keep doing this long term. And so the Sorority Sister is like the most perfect thing. It's still a baby, it's still new, but we launched a course in August of kind of rush week tips for girls who are going through rush. I do a ton of videos about what to expect and all of that. And then right now we're making a second course for more pre-rush stuff, just because last year we started towards the end of summer, so we really focused on the rush process itself, versus now this course is going to be how to register for sorority recruitment, what to do, all the things you need to do. There's so much. Sorority recruitment is so like, there's so many layers to it. And so I think that's why this is really like, I'm really passionate about it, and it's really exciting that I get to share and help people in an accessible way, because sorority rush consultants exist. They're like thousands of dollars, and it's one-on-one. So in this course form, I can talk to people and give them advice and reach way more people. So for this pre-rush prep course, it'll be like how to do resumes, letter of recs, pre-rush events, social media guidelines, DM etiquette, like all the stuff that you need pre-rush. And then we'll still have that rush week course too. So I'm really putting efforts into that. Obviously with any business, I just want it to grow. I would love to do live events. I would love to travel, really just pouring into promotion and marketing for that. And building the course right now is what I've been up to. Okay, I realized I went out of order. I was going to tell y'all where I was going to move like way earlier, like when I said I wanted to do content full time. So let's talk about that, and then I'll continue going on with like my business goals and other goals I have. But thinking about a location, I don't want to say set, but I always knew that I wanted to move out of Austin. I think just the nature of me, I moved far from home. I'm originally from Northern California. I went to college in Austin, and so I think I was ready for another change. So the part that was so stressful for me was figuring out where the heck I was going to move, because especially when I started thinking about the possibility of doing this full time, that just comes with a lot of other things. Like I talked to a lot of mentors and older people about making friends in post-grad, and a lot of them said that they made it from coworkers. And when I'm working for myself, like I don't have coworkers. And so that was a big part of where I decided to move, because over summer I visited San Diego and I was set on moving to San Diego. I was so excited. My best friend Mia lives there. She lives by the beach. I was like obsessed. I'm obsessed with her lifestyle. Each morning I would like walk to go get coffee on the beach. It was just like dreamy. And I was like, I want to live here. Like I am going to do this. But when I started thinking about it more, I don't really have like that big of a community in San Diego, which is okay. Like I can meet new people, but I feel like I can always move to San Diego. ago versus I visited New York for the first time in June and I loved it, but I never thought like, oh, I would want to live here because it was my first time visiting. Then in September, I talked to one of my mentors and I was like, I'm thinking about San Diego, but I'm not sure. And she had lived in New York and then she moved to LA and she has lived in LA ever since. And I actually met her when I was living in LA that summer. She also went to UT, so she's been a huge mentor for me. And she was like, have you ever thought of New York? And I honestly had never. I literally had never thought of it. Before June, I had never visited and it just didn't seem like my vibe for the longest time. But I also had never visited, so I didn't know the vibes. So I was like, like maybe I will. And then also last semester, I visited New York again. My big Sophie lives there, which weird tie, but I also lived in LA with her. Basically, where the story is going is I am moving to New York City. After I graduate, I made that decision, one, because of the people. I know a lot of people who are moving there. I know people who are there. A lot of people from UT go there, so I know there's like a good community and network of people that I can meet. And then also it's literally New York City. Like there's so many people there. And then in terms of my job, I felt so inspired in New York. When I was in LA, I felt almost embarrassed to vlog, and I feel like there wasn't as much content to be made as there is when I'm in New York, or how I feel in New York. I feel like I was not self-conscious about filming at all, and I shouldn't really be anywhere, but for some reason LA just was not the vibe for me at that moment. And so that's why I wasn't really considering moving to LA right away. And I love San Diego, but like I said, the beach life can always be there for me. What feels so in the moment right now is being 23. I'm going to turn 23 in June and moving to New York, and just I feel like that is like this is the time to move to New York City if I ever am going to. So going into some of my worries about like literally all of this, one, finding an apartment is just it scares me. One, because I don't really know New York that well. Two, it is so hard to find an apartment in New York, and it's expensive, and I'm not going to be living as luxurious as I am in the past 2 years of living in a brand new apartment, which I'm like totally mentally prepared for, and that's so part of it, and I'm so excited. But I think I'm just nervous about roommates and finding an apartment, and it is something that you can't really like plan months in advance because you kind of just shop for apartments right when you're ready. And so that's something that's really stressing me out, but I'm just trying to ignore it because there's really nothing I can do right now except for watch like a bunch of YouTube videos of other people finding it, which, side note, definitely will be taking y'all along my New York apartment finds, of course. That's why I'm so excited to just finally share this, is because I feel like I want to start talking about like what moving entails. Speaking of, physically moving is another one of my huge worries. I have so much stuff and I need to get rid of a lot of it. I need to start downsizing because, again, I'm mentally prepared for my closet to be like half the size that it is right now. But just physically moving from Texas to New York City, my home is in Northern California. I do have my car. I'm not going to bring my car to New York. Need to figure that out. Need to just like figure out all the logistics. But yeah, that's another thing I will take y'all along with. I'll figure it out so you don't have to. And then back to like social media and my job. Another worry I have is finding a routine working for myself. I think that's also why I'm putting a little more pressure on the apartment part for me, because I technically like am working from home, or I'll be working in the neighborhood. I want to be in a good neighborhood where I can work from there, and just working for myself full time is a dream. Like, that is so cool that I'm able to do that, but also comes with a lot of challenges for motivation, keeping myself on task, holding myself accountable, and just finding a routine and trying not to, one, get burnout, but also tired of this. Like I never want to get tired of it. And I think that's another thing that really worries me about social media is the instability and inconsistency. I'm almost too aware that this could go away at any moment and this could just be a phase. And so actively trying to work, one, against that, like just trying to change up my content every once in a while, or really grow and develop and listen to y'all of what y'all want, but also really putting energy into the Sorority Sister and other businesses that can turn into where I'm more working on that than social media, even though, again, would love for this to just like continue to grow as well. Okay, going back to end with some of my goals for post-grad. One, giving out way more content, just on every platform. I already have noticed that this semester, having more time and just being in the mentality, I have been posting a lot more and filming a lot more, and then working on the Sorority Sister, launching that course to be set up for the summer. Summer is going to be crazy because that's like rush season, but then also there's spring rush. Like, it's just going to be a cycle, and it's so exciting, and there's always new girls going through recruitment, and I love my sorority. I could go on and on and on about rush, and that's why this is such a great thing for me, and I love the Sorority Sister. Y'all should go follow it on Instagram or just check out our website. I'll obviously link it below. And then eventually I've started looking into it a little bit, but my ultimate goal is to have a jewelry business and come out with a jewelry collection. And I think the first steps is not really doing the full thing, but just kind of starting to maybe drop pieces every once in a while, kind of source them and do mini drops and just kind of share them. And then eventually, hopefully, the plan is, in the dream, would be to have my own jewelry company. Y'all know I absolutely love jewelry. I used to love making jewelry. That's my dream. Going into post-grad, I really want to keep up with my friends. Basically all of my roommates are moving to different cities, which also makes it a lot easier to say, like, I'm just gonna go and live in New York. But with that comes long distance friendships, and I really want to keep up with them with calling, also visiting them. The luxury of me doing this full time is that I will be on my own schedule, so I can travel a ton, but also travel to see my friends. Also in a new city, I really want to put myself out there, meet a lot of new people, make friendships, and just make the most of moving to a new city and make the most of moving to New York City. Yeah, I cannot believe that I'm filming this right now. I'm sitting in my senior year apartment and telling y'all what I'm doing post-grad, when it felt like just yesterday I was filming videos in my dorm and like not thinking that this could ever be a full-time job. So I'm just so grateful, and I'm literally able to do this because of y'all, and it's really like I am just so incredibly grateful for y'all's support and for caring about my life, and I love sharing my life with y'all, and I love sharing these little moments, and y'all are just literally the best. This is just the beginning of a lot of post-grad content, a lot of New York content. Go follow me on Instagram because I have been spamming on there. I am obsessed with posting stories. Oh, a little bit more about the timeline. I graduate in May. I have this apartment until July 31st. So that's another big logistic thing I have to worry about. But by August, I will be in New York City, if all goes according to plan. I love y'all so much, literally so much. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you liked this format of me just talking, because I think I really did. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.